It is our pleasure to welcome you to the presentation of Reporteros 4. And we are very happy to have here several presenters. We have Teresita Barcia, who is a Spanish teacher at the Bethlehem Central Schools in New York, and also one of the contributing writers for the whole series of Reporteros.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos.
Thank you. We also have Noemi Martinez, who is the managing editor and the brain of Reporteros 4.
Hola, buenas noches aquí en España y buenas tardes. No soy el cerebro, para nada. Hay un equipo enorme detrás.
Thank you, that's true. And we also have Barbara Ceruti, who is the editorial director of Reporteros 4 and who will also be starting the presentation for us. Barbara, the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Sabrina. We're very pleased and also very excited to welcome you to this presentation of Reporteros 4, the last level of this program. And today we'll present an overview of the program, then explain why we decided to do a fourth level of Reporteros, what is new in Reporteros 4 compared to level 1, 2, and 3. We'll have a tour of a unit in detail by Noemi, and also presentation of the components and ancillary materials of Reporteros 4, as well as some time for your questions. So, program overview. Reporteros is proficiency-based. It's a 4-level Spanish program, and it's for middle and high school. It's communicative and based on project and offering authentic, engaging content that is interesting for students of the age we are speaking to. And it's aligned with ACTFL World Readiness Standards. So here you have an overview of the covers of the whole series. And you will see, as you can see, for first level, we have a split edition. And Reporteros 4 covers intermediate, mid to intermediate high level. The concept of Reporteros is, it's based on journalists. It's 6 young people, different people for each level, taking the role of cultural ambassadors of their country and explaining certain features of their country. They're explaining it furthermore in their accent, their native, to the location which is presented, and also the themes that go with this topic, this unit. So for level 4, we have in the States, we have San Antonio, we have Peru, Paraguay, República Dominicana, Guatemala, and Colombia. These are our 6 countries in level 4. Next, please. So proficiency-based, what does this mean for us? It means that we base our instruction on authentic, relevant, and current materials. This is especially important for young people. They want to have current materials and not materials that are old or out of date. Communication is realistic. It's aligned with ACTFL standards. Grammar is taught and practiced in context. The units are project-based and based on comprehensible input, and the assessment is most of the time formative and also summative. So the components of the program are the student edition, 6 units. For levels 1 to 3, we also have a preliminary unit. The workbook, also 6 units, always print and digital, the annotated teachers edition, and the digital version with the assessment program and plenty of supplementary materials on the KWL Hub, as well as companion readers. We just published the companion readers for Reporteros 2, and Reporteros 3 and 4 are due in a very short time.
Okay, so what sets Reporteros apart? Well, it's a well-defined logic model based on research and scientific evidence, and it has been analyzed by Johns Hopkins University School of Education, who had analyzed and validated our program. We're very proud of that. And also it's compounded by authentic materials which have been carefully selected, and they are presented with scaffolded activities. And also it offers flexible approaches for instruction language structures, which will we think that will be adaptable to fit different teaching styles and student needs. So whether you prefer a more communicative method or a more grammar-focused approach, we've got you covered. And it is also, we also understand that adopting a new curriculum can be very challenging. So there is a dedicated implementation support team ready to assist you, so you can contact us. And as dedicated as are our team of contributing writers and reviewers.
Yes, last but not least is a series that has been created by teachers for teachers. And our extensive team of collaborators includes active 7 to 12th grade classroom teachers from both private and public schools in larger and smaller districts from different places of the United States. We have a variety of backgrounds, professional interests, and experiences. Some, but not all of us, are native speakers, and that was very important when creating Reporteros. Our goal was and continues to be to support educators, hoping to facilitate straightforward and productive instructional and learning experience for students from homogeneous groups to the more diverse group of students. So why a need for Reporteros 4? So I have often taught levels 3 and 4, and I personally find that some students who want to continue are intimidated or overwhelmed by textbooks that are too difficult for them after level 3. It's too big of a jump. If there is a big jump and there is no safety net, it is discouraging for some students. We want to keep the kids in our program and get them ready for the next level of proficiency. This was also a main concern of many teachers across the United States on a survey conducted during the planning phases for level 4. So Clever Languages pay attention to this concern, and as a classroom teacher, that was very important to me. This book makes that bridge between level 3 and AP, one that the students can cross with confidence. The scaffolding activities and rigor provide smooth transition from level 3 while preparing the students for the challenging AP exam if they choose to continue that way. The degree of difficulty and communicative expectations follow a logical progression from units 1 through 6. And because the materials are diverse and relatable, they can appeal to a variety of students and foster communication at the intermediate level.
Okay, what's new in Reporteros 4? I'm assuming that some of you already know Reporteros, so I will just present the new features of Reporteros 4. So there's a deeper approach to vocabulary. We've developed more complex vocabulary, so we've put the focus on frequent word combinations, semantic relationships between words, synonyms, antonyms. We've put a focus also on word formation and on useful expressions. I'll go on these a little bit later in more detail. And we've put a stronger focus on production skills, which was a request that we see from many teachers, that they wanted more production activities. And especially the big difference is the units are based on AP themes and sub-themes, and also includes all AP exam type documents, from charts to articles to literary text to interviews, all kind of all the exam types documents that are in the AP exams, and also includes the AP exam type tasks, from multiple choice interpretive questions to semi-guided conversations, argumentative essays, email replies, and cultural comparisons. Let's see how we offer these features in each unit. Let's have a look at the unit. And so one of the main changes in Reporteros 4, for those who already know Reporteros 3, is that it's not divided in 2 lessons, and the length of the units can vary between 28 and 32 pages. And each unit begins with a double page spread, and features the introduction of the unit, the number of the unit, the engaging title of the unit. This case is Unit 1, Maneras de Vivir, and presents the essential questions of the unit. In some cases, it's one essential questions. We have one unit that offers 2 essential questions. And also, we still have the map with the country of the region to help students put the country of the reportero in the map. And then we have the section in this unit, You Will, which provides the summary of the communicational goals and cultural aspects of the unit. And this overview helps students understand what they will achieve by the end of the unit, and aligns their learning objectives with real-world applications. And also the proyecto final is announced on these pages. And as in previous Reporteros, in previous editions, the unit kicks off with an opening video with activities. And these activities in the students' edition are focused on general comprehension of the video, but, and we will see that also further on in the presentation, in the workbook, we provide 3 or 4 activities related to this video, and they will examine the video in more detail. And one of the main changes that you will notice is also this flexibility in the structure of the units. You will see that some sections, well, we have a total of 7 sections, and these sections can span either 1 double page spread or 2 double page spreads, depending on if they combine 2 large documents or smaller documents, or videos, especially, that take less room to work. And the 7 sections of the unit, we've divided first 3 sections are sections that are emphasized on the interpretive modes significantly, like 2 sections contain 2 documents each, and 1 section which is based in 1 literary text. Then we have 2 sections combining interpretive modes with interpersonal modes, and the final 2 sections combine interpretive modes with presentational modes. We'll see examples of these 7 sections on the next slides. And what you can see also are some familiar elements of Reporteros common to previous editions, such as the main learning goals for each double-page spread presented as can-do statements. We also have the activities that are introduced by 1 or more verbs that highlight the communication skills required: habla, lee, escribe, interactúa, mira, for the video activities, and activities and then the vocabulary boxes, mi vocabulario boxes, which are listing words and expressions that support the learning objectives of the activities, as well as the mi gramática boxes, providing clear examples of the grammatical structures needed to complete the activities. In these 2 boxes in Mi Vocabulario, there are references to the Mi Vocabulary pages that compile all the active words and expressions in the unit. And the Mi Gramática boxes, they make reference to the appendix grammar reference, where full explanations are provided of these grammatical features. And I would also like to highlight that the vocabulary and the grammar structures on these boxes come from the documents or are required to answer the activities. And many times there are communication examples and language chunks are provided to serve as a guide to students to answer the activities. And also at the top right of these pages, you will find a reference to the workbook pages that offer the vocabulary and grammar activities for each section. And as I said, some sections span 2 double-page spreads to accommodate 2 documents that portray different points of view on the same topic. For example, in this unit, the first section combines a chart and an article, both on the topic of clothing industry in Peru. And these sections end with an activity, either oral or written, based on both documents. These activities are designed to help students develop essential skills for future AP exams, such as summarizing viewpoints and supporting interpretations using content from the sources. Now let's get a closer look at the activities within these sections. In Reporteros 4, you will find step-by-step approach designed to help students understand, interpret, and analyze the printed text and audiovisual documents. This approach includes anticipation questions, preparing students for what they will read or watch or listen to. There are also only listening activities. Questions about general ideas in the documents, questions about keywords, tasks focus on language in context, and cultural comparisons and connections. We have made a special effort to offer a wide variety of interpretive activities ranging from multiple choice questions to open-ended questions. Depending on each document, these questions may require students to identify the type of document and its objective, analyze or infer meaning, and draw conclusions. And since we are aware of the difficulties of students in Reporteros 4, we still include activities focused on the new language structures, both vocabulary and grammar, for students to observe and deduce the rules of use of these features in context. There is an example on this double spread on the activity D, and they are marked with the magnifying lenses, these kind of activities. As I announced before, in next unit, there is one literary text related to the unit topic. And I would like to highlight that the scaffolded activities accompanying these texts are designed to help students understand both literal and inferred meanings. And to provide context to the fragments, we include a brief presentation of the author and a cultura box highlighting one of the specific cultural elements of the text or the author or the historical context.
So now we're going to look at a different type of activity and creating level appropriate opportunities for interpersonal communication in the classroom is not always easy. Here we have an example where dialogues with native speakers are introduced as an interpretive listening activity with the photo prompts that maybe the teacher can use for an extra cultural comparison if they would like to do so. And the students can compare the pictures of this neighborhood with their own communities. But this leads to a semi-guided dialogue activity, which is similar to the ones in AP, which you can see in the opposite page. The model dialogues with the pictures give the students the ideas and build their confidence to do the type of activities that they are requiring in level 4 right now. I also want to say, in case you're not familiar with Reporteros, that cultural comparison activities are an integral part of the Reporteros program. And the students start doing different cultural comparisons from the very early levels. If you have the series, you may be familiar with that already. They begin by comparing cultural products, and then now by level 4, they can start comparing other things such as perspectives. In the next 2 pages, you have an example of an email message, which is an interpretive activity for them. They're going to read it and answer questions. And then that is followed by an email response that they will write. However, the students are provided with a template, useful vocabulary, and because they already broke down and understood the message first, that should guide them to a successful completion of the final task. This email response, as you might know, is one of the AP activities that the students need to do. So this is great practice for them. Here we have another example of incorporating AP-like activities. In the first double spread, you have an authentic infographic about tourism in Peru. Is an interpretive reading, culminating with an analysis question in the opposite page that requires them to engage in a cultural comparison as a group. They will do this activity as a group with tourism in the United States. That comparison can be done in a simple way. Let's remember this is unit 1. Later in the unit, we have the second double, which you see below here, that has a video presentation. These videos are done by our reporteros, who are native speakers from those countries. And in this double spread, the students are learning about the cumbia from Peru and the merengue from República Dominicana. And they will learn this in order to compare and contrast both types of rhythms. Now the students will be asked to do this comparison individually, no longer in groups. There is the Para Saber Más box that will let you discover more about the topics in the lesson. I particularly love those boxes, and they are a consistent feature in the entire Reportero series. This page also has a cultural explanation box that the students can read, but also hear, which is terrific for students who have IEPs that are related to reading, for example. Um, as it was the case with the email response that we show you in the previous page, right here too, there is a step-by-step, well-explained guide for them to be able to do the comparison. By the time they get to this activity at the end of the page, they already had the vocabulary, the cultural background, they have interpreted the videos, by doing different activities, and that should make them more comfortable in completing this task because they already practice how to do it before as a group. So these activities will be then followed by an article which they will use as a source along with this infographic and the videos to write an opinion piece about tourism in Peru. And this will cover the presentational writing component using authentic sources as references.
So after the unit core pages, what you will find are the 6-page Mi Vocabulario section. And here the active words and expressions of the unit, along with the English translations, are organized into semantic categories, la economía, la moda, el turismo, and subcategories. In the case of el turismo, we have los riesgos, las medidas. So there are different categories inside its semantic categories. And also to further support learning, we use graphic organizer, images, and outlines to our use in these presentations. And also in Reporteros 4, this section emphasizes semantic relationships between words, synonyms and antonyms, and frequent word combinations, mirroring how vocabulary is learned in an immersion environment. And each unit also includes several categories of useful expressions for specific communicative purposes and situations, as well as linking words. We have examples on the next double page. Yeah, here you can see other examples of semantic categories, los estilos de vida, which is one of the main topics of the unit, la comunidad y la identidad. And also we have a section focused on useful expressions for an informal conversation. And in this unit, since it's unit 1, we started with how to start a conversation, how to react, and how to ask for more information about an activity. And on the next double page, we can also see other examples of useful expressions for the opinion piece that Teresita mentioned, as well as the informal email they have to write, and for the oral presentation, and a whole section dedicated to the linking words organized in a logical way of meanings. I just wanted to add that in addition to the presentations, the workbook and to the workbook activities related to vocabulary, students can also complete self-check quizzes that are available in the digital platform to practice all this vocabulary. And to conclude the unit, since our project-based units, we finish with the final activity, which is a final project, and that allows students to reflect critically on the unit topics and to use the language structures they've learned. And this activity include a detailed description of the context in which the task will be completed, so they know what they are doing the project for, clear explanation of what the final product should look like, specific tips and strategies to successfully carry the activity, and a visual example of what the product could look like. And to help assess if the proficiency level is reached, teachers can use the assessment rubric that we've created specifically for each project, and students can also use the self and peer assessment rubrics, both of which can be downloaded from the digital platform as well. And so I would like to finish this tour on what you will find in Reporteros 4 by presenting the contents of the appendices. I understand that one big change has been removing the grammar pages from the units, but in fact, what we've created is a very comprehensive grammar reference that includes all the grammar features presented in Reporteros 4, along with the main features presented in previous levels. And they're also used in Reporteros 4. And they are presented following the same style of Mi Gramática pages in Reporteros 1, 2, and 3, where the grammar concepts are presented using color-coded explanations, diagrams, outlines, examples, and illustrations to help students grasp the rules of the grammar. And I would also want to mention that in the digital platform, there are still the grammar tutorials are available for these structures, and also subject quizzes for the students. In addition, of course, of the workbook activities. Also, we have another appendix dedicated to all the useful expressions that they been presented in Reporteros 4. So communicative tools, including the most frequently used expressions for everyday situations, both formal and informal conversations and emails, as well as discourse markers, time expressions, sequencing words, and common linking words. Tablas de verbos, conjugations of all the verb tenses started up to this level, and vocabulario español, inglés, inglés español, which is the active vocabulary words organized this time alphabetically, not logically, with reference to the pages where they appear, making it easy for students to find and review vocabulary as needed. And I would like to mention that additionally to this list, there are also lists of active vocabulary of each unit, which are available in the digital platform in Word format, so you can edit these lists of vocabulary for your needs.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful tour, Noemi. So what else comes with Reporteros? We had a very close look at the student edition, but we also have the annotated teachers edition, and also very important, the workbook. And please, next slide.
So let's talk about the Teacher's Annotated Edition. This is the same opening pages that Noemi was talking about before. So the Teacher's Edition has an array of annotations. For example, ideas for boosting your teaching, such as games, enrichment activities, suggestions for differentiation, and more. There is a main AP topic assigned to each unit. In this particular case is contemporary life, but they're also learning about other topics that are sprinkled through the lessons, such as beauty and aesthetics or identity in this unit, for example. The opening page has 2 cultural expansion activities in this particular unit, but other pages will have different suggestions for you. We, as the collaborators, have shared what has worked for us in our classrooms in the hopes that this will streamline your lesson planning and empower you to enhance your methodology, particularly for our colleagues who are new to the profession and may need a little bit more guidance. The very detailed culture notes at the start of the chapter are very useful for me personally. It doesn't just say in this particular case, this is Miraflores, an important neighborhood in Peru. I have been teaching for 30 years, and oftentimes I find books that, when it comes to the cultural notes, I find myself having to go and look for information. This is very detailed. And even though I'm a native speaker, I'm Cuban, I'm not Peruvian. I don't know anything about Peru. I didn't know about this neighborhood. So by having these bags, I don't have to go and spend 15, 20 minutes researching the background for that photo behind the reportero. I like to be prepared for any curious questions that the students may have. And these boxes that they have been included with all authentic materials, they are terrific because they are going to save you they're going to save you that work. So all of our authentic materials have been annotated with the background, where does it come from, what is it about. And when you have such tools and resources so easily accessible, we're getting back our time. It takes a lot of time to research authentic resources and try to find things with purpose. And now we can focus on what's really important, motivating and engaging our students.
Okay, let's talk about another component that we are also very proud. The annotated teacher edition, it's an amazing work that our contributors, writers do, and it's great. But now let's go for the workbook. This essential resource is designed to complement the student textbook and offers a range of very valuable activities and features. I will go very quick through this slide, and then we can see all these features in detail. So meaningful vocabulary and grammar activities, comprehensive practice of all the grammar points presented in the student edition, cultural quizzes and cultural comparisons, as well as interactive and assignable digital version. And also it is presented steerable color printouts and the interactive assignable digital version that I've already mentioned. So here you can see the 3 activities that I mentioned before related to the video of the reportero. So the general activities that we had in the student edition had expanded into 3 detailed activities that go from working on the visual content of the video to the very basic information mentioned in the video, as well to more comprehensive to a wider comprehension of the video content and the topics of the video. So the other 2 main focus of the workbook are the vocabulary and the grammar. And so to help students become familiar with and master the active vocabulary and the grammar structures of each unit, the workbook offers a wide variety of activity typologies arranged by increasing difficulty. You can see that we mark each activity with stars. So we have 1-star activities, which are more controlled and guided, while 3-star activities challenge students with more open-ended tasks. On these pages, we can observe 3 different activities from the field of economy and word formation. And in each activity, we are using the same words, but doing different tasks, from just identifying the meaning and filling blanks to categorizing the words and forming new words, to a transformation activity where the students have the opportunity to form the correct word and also trained on ways of paraphrasing sentences. And also they have to describe an infographic, which is also one of the vocabulary points of the unit, to describe infographic. So that's what they will do here. They will have an infographic and they will have to describe it with the help of some words that are provided in the activity. And as I said, we've put special focus on expanding students' vocabulary. through activities that reinforce frequent word combinations and synonyms. As you can see here, there are several activities dedicated to word formation to help students use language more naturally and fluently, and basically enable them to express ideas in multiple ways, which is crucial for both comprehension and production. Now, for the grammar activities, we follow the same approach as the vocabulary activities. So in Reporteros 4 are also arranged in increasing difficulty, starting from more controlled to more challenging tasks. And so you can see here, we have activities just to form the conjugated verb, to manipulating some expressions that they've been given, but also in a more personalized way to a very free and personalized expression using the grammar in context and in a meaningful way, as you can see on these examples with 3 stars. Yeah, and also the grammar activities go further to not only the level of sentences, but we like to work with text and audios, as you can see on activity 14, which is an listening activity where they have to answer using the present tense or the imperfect tenses. And also in the workbook, we also find specific vocabulary and grammar activities that train interpersonal skills, such as conversations, interviews, and emails. We have an example here of an email with a prepare activity where they work on the useful expressions for starting an email, and then they have to use those expressions in a meaningful way in email. Or also there are activities that help students to develop presentational skills, training useful expressions and linking words and connectors, as you can see in this last example from the workbook. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Noemi. So apart from and Teresita, of course, apart from the teacher's edition and the workbook, we also have a lot of material for teachers and for students on the digital platform. We have the assessment program with IPAs and more sort of summative assessments, the pruebas, the rubrics for evaluation, assessment rubrics for projects, also self and peer assessment rubrics, my progress for students to see how their progress is going on and what they can do to improve, differentiation worksheets and worksheets for heritage speakers, extra vocabulary activities, the self-check quizzes, grammar tutorials, correlations, and a lot of other materials. So to conclude our presentation, we would like to show just a short sample of one of the 35 videos which go with Reporteros 4 program. So please go ahead.
El mundo es mi límite. Estamos logrando lo que queremos.
Sí o sí ir a patinar.
Uno cuando es skater ve el mundo diferente. Pues nosotras con Emillas Skate queremos mandar un mensaje de igualdad, un mensaje de integridad y sobre todo un mensaje de valorización y respeto hacia la pollera, hacia las trenzas, hacia el sombrero y hacia la historia que nosotras tenemos, ¿no?
El skate, la comunidad, es una hermandad y te ayuda en varios valores. Y a una persona, a una niña, joven o adulto que está empezando, le va a servir mucho para fortalecer su confianza, su carácter, el poder atreverse a más, atreverse a lo que pensaba que no iba a poder. Y el skateboarding le va a dar esas herramientas automáticamente.
Para ser una Emilia Skate solo necesitas ser tú misma, ser auténtica, ¿no? Porque todas sentimos, creo, lo mismo al patinar y esto hace que podamos ser una misma. La chola cochara se representa por eso, por ser trabajadora, por ser de carácter fuerte, por ser firme. Entonces algo que nosotras tenemos en nuestras raíces, son cosas que nos han dejado nuestras ancestras, que han sido de polleras. Y así como tiene una historia muy fuerte, nos hace fuertes a nosotras, ¿no? Cuando salimos a patinar, cuando nos reunimos, hay más confianza entre nosotras nos enseñamos, entre nosotras nos apoyamos, nos ayudamos y hay esa unión y esa amistad, ¿no? Que pucha, yo creo que por casi Semillas Skate se ha ido fortaleciendo y es algo muy bonito que nosotras tenemos, ¿no?
Estar en una patineta es una felicidad automática. El sentir que el viento corre por tu cara, el sentir que estás libre y te puedes desplayar fácilmente a donde tú vayas.
Una de las cosas más bonitas que he podido sentir en la vida porque realmente me hace sentir muy feliz, me hace sentir viva. El hecho de sentir el pavimento bajo mis pies así mientras estoy patinando es una de las mejores sensaciones para mí.
Agarro mi tabla y me desplazo y me siento completa, así como que he completado el día.
Cada chica tiene su carácter y también cada chica pasa diferentes cosas, diferentes situaciones, pero nosotras siempre estamos ahí para apoyarnos entre nosotras. No importa la edad que tengas, eso es algo que siempre va a estar en nosotros. El skateboarding siempre está en nosotros más que un deporte, es nuestro estilo de vida, ¿no? Puedes andar por donde quieras, eres libre de montar tu tabla donde quieras y no importa en qué parte del mundo vayas, si tú tienes una tabla, siempre vas a ser bien recibido por otros skaters, porque el skateboarding es eso, es familia.
So, thank you so much. So now we're ready for your questions, if you have any. We hope so.
Yes, we have a few. Muchas gracias a las tres. We do have a few questions. So the first one would be, how do you keep track of their activities when they complete it?
Well, in the digital platform, they are recorded, of course, and there is an assessment of these activities.
Yes, they can be assigned by the teacher,
Mhm.
and then the teacher gets the results and knows who the students who had completed the activities, and also if they have automatic answers, they can know if they've done the activity correctly or not.
Perfect, thank you. Then our next question would be, how do you monitor the activities and the quizzes?
The quizzes are all closed questions. It's sort of multiple choice. So this is also the teacher can see what the students answered. So this is the way it's monitored. It's multiple choice, basically. It's very basic, but it works, of course.
Fantastic, thank you. Then we can move to the next question, which is if there are any plans for an AP level.
Yes, we are already working on it, and it's due next year, hopefully. Yes, next year.
Fantastic. We will give more information on that in the upcoming months, maybe. We will keep you all posted. Then, Reporteros 4 does not contain a preliminary unit. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Perfect.
Because it wasn't, I mean, it's really, it's different to level 1, 2, 3. You've seen it, the structure is different. The objectives are slightly different. So it didn't seem logical to make a preliminary unit resuming level 3. I mean, we are recycling a lot and revisioning a lot of grammatical concepts they've already seen. We're doing that all the time. So it's not only new grammar points or new vocabulary, but it's all revised in context, and so that the students can have the possibility to retake what they already know.
Perfect. We maybe can link that answer with the next question, which is if Reporteros 4 could be used without the previous books levels from 1 to 3.
Teresita, what do you think?
I
You're the
was
teacher
going
here.
to, I
You're
didn't
the
know if I should answer
teacher.
that in the chat. Thank you everyone for your questions. Muchas gracias por las preguntas. Sí, yo creo que sí, definitivamente. Como profesora, yo he visto el libro, además de trabajar en el libro, y sí, no había problema en absoluto. Especialmente inglés o español, no sé. Ok, voy a cambiar inglés. Especially because in case it is a supervisor or something in the group that doesn't speak Spanish, shouldn't be a problem at all. Especially because all the grammar topics are reviewed at the end. You still have the list of vocabularies. So yes, I will say absolutely without a doubt, it could be used in isolation. Does it correlate to the other ones? Yes, and there is, and there is a transition, but I know that sometimes that's not always possible. Sometimes the districts, you don't have the budget to buy the whole series or whatever it might be. Without a doubt, you can use this one as a standalone if you don't have the rest of the series. Thank you for the question. Gracias.
Great, thank you. Then for our next question, we are asking now about grammar. So is there any explanation for the grammar points they have already learned in previous levels, or only for the new ones? And maybe we can link that to how does the book deals with grammar topics, presentations, and their practice. So maybe we can speak a bit about the grammar in general again.
Well, yeah, as we've just said, the grammar, we don't assume that they might know all the grammar or that they master all the grammar points they've seen in previous levels. So in fact, in Unit 1, I think we revise the present tense, because we assume that present tense is complex. It's something that we've been using, but the forms are not easy to acquire. So they need to practice them more. They need to keep using them. And so we either have these little boxes next to the activities where they can observe the examples of the grammar in use. They have the activities where they do observation, focus on distraction. So they observe the rules and they observe the use in context of the grammar points. And then they have the references to the new grammar points presented in Reporteros 4, but also most of the main grammar points presented in previous levels. Maybe we didn't do feminine and masculine or plurals and singular, but we did we've covered all of the verb tenses, we've covered the pronouns, we've covered several grammar points that we find that are essential to have in a grammar reference. I don't know if this answered the question.
I believe it does. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Also, do you have International Baccalaureate IB alignments for this text?
Yes, we have the correlations in the teacher's edition, where it really is detailed. We have a whole correlations grid where you can see exactly which pages and activities correlate with IB.
Fantastic, thank you. And let's go to what seems to be the last question. Of course, if anyone has an additional one, you're still on time to place it. This question will be regarding answer keys. Are there answer keys provided for the textbook, for the workbook, and for activities and quizzes?
Yeah, I might answer that. For the student edition, all the answers are in the teacher's edition. We believe it's very important for the teacher to know what we, while creating this material, thought the answer should or could be, otherwise it's sort of going nowhere. So for the student edition, you have answers and possible answers in the teacher's edition. For the workbook, you have an extra PDF with all the entire answer key for the workbook for the teacher. And I honestly don't know what happens to the quizzes, because
I think they get the answer immediately. I mean,
yeah, I think
once they've completed the quiz, the digital platform provides with correct and incorrect answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's automatic.
Must be, yeah, because we don't have any PDF on that.
No, the digital.
This is within the platform. You can see what the answer is. Yeah.
Mm.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So that was definitely our last question. So once again, thank you very much. And before we finish, we would like to invite you. We hope you all liked this webinar, well, this presentation. And we, of course, want to invite you to check out the CLET World Languages Learning community. Just so you know, we have complimentary onboarding that includes, in case you adopt our materials, in case you have Reporteros, we will help you out. You will get platform training as well as initial content implementation. We, of course, have many free webinars. We have this presentation. Just so you know, next week we're also presenting Reporter Francophone, which is the French version of Reporteros, but we have many webinars in other topics as well as training sessions. We are also going to be present in several conferences and events, so in case you go to any of them, please feel free to come by. We would love to say hi and meet you in person. And of course, we have the opportunity to get continued professional development. Please visit cledwl.com/pd so you can learn more about all the tailored PD options that you have available, and so we could get you in contact with one of our sales consultants so you could get more information on this. That being said, again, muchísimas gracias. Gracias, Teresita, Bárbara, Noemí. And thank you all, of course, for your participation, for all your amazing questions. And if you have any additional doubts on Reporteros, on the whole program, or anything that we can do for you, you can send us an email at marketing@cledwl.com. Again,
Gracias.
thank you. Gracias. Muy buenas
Muchas
noches.
gracias, Sabrina.
A ustedes.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a todos
Adiós.
por asistir.